Not to go too far, Georgi, I have one more. Yes, yes, definitely. But I'm back in the studio with you. So I have one more very interesting interview for our viewers. We always talk about the importance of regular communication between public and private sectors, and especially during the pandemic, listening more to the business community is crucial to really address the true needs that COVID-19 has brought to the table. EUGBC was the association that initiated a roundtable between these two sectors. The meeting was named very simply Dialogue with Business.
I do remember, yes, I remember, and we have been covering the event on our media platforms. Deputy Ministers of Finance and Economy, if I'm not mistaken, as well as the head of Labor Inspection Department at Ministry of Health, Mr. Peradze, Beka Peradze, and the Director of Agency, Enterprise Georgia. They met with representatives and top management of EUGBC, member companies and partner business associations at this meeting.
Yes, exactly. Updated programs by the government of Georgia to support business, new challenges faced by business sector due to COVID-19 pandemic, necessary activities and additional steps in order to minimize the losses and recover the economy, monitoring implementation of recommendations given by the Ministry of Labor and Health of Georgia, and the new prospects of business development. All of these were the main issues discussed during the meeting. One initiative that caught my ear was that the business asks for a one-year moratorium on new regulations. Zviad Chumburidze sat down with the checkpoints. Let's talk about the initiative that we heard on this big gathering and dialogue of business, facilitating dialogue between business and the public sector. And there we heard this one initiative from the business community to have at least 1 year moratorium on regulations, on new regulations.
3 ministries participated in this, let's say, event. Ministry of Economy, it was Deputy Minister level, Ministry of Economy, Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Finance. At the same time, somewhere around 45 business companies participated in this roundtable. During this gathering, it was very interesting topic, penalties during regulation period, you see. What is important that, okay, we fully understand that COVID-19 needs strict, let's say, regulations, strict, let's say, recommendations, and to follow this recommendation from business companies' side. But at the same time, we should mark one point. For example, the penalties is around 10,000 lari. So I know more than 6 companies, and they are members of EU Georgia Business Council, which already in process of these penalties. 10,000 lari. Just imagine, Elena, if they pay 10,000 lari, and most of them, they are from HoReCa sector, let's say restaurants. If the owner of the restaurant is paying, for example, price of rent, company is paying for salaries of the let's say, staff members, utility fees, and plus this big, let's say, penalty, 10,000 lari. So we initiated and asked the government, and we received a promise from the Deputy Minister of Economy that they will raise this issue during Coordination Council's meeting, that it's necessary to abolish and reschedule this regulation. I mean, let's say, high fee penalties. First of all, it's necessary to...
What was the reason for these penalties? It was some kind of misinterpretation of guidelines, or avoiding the guidelines? Because on the other hand, there is a situation with pandemic. COVID-19 hasn't gone anywhere. We don't have a vaccine. And of course, that kind of caution is really important.
Unfortunately, the regulations and guidelines, you see, does not give full information to let's say, business community. That's why sometimes they are making mistakes. We can, how to say, fix some, let's say, small penalties like 500 lari or maximum 1,000 lari at the beginning, And if they do not follow the regulations, then you can, let's say, penalty for a, let's say, big amount. Unfortunately, COVID-19 practically stressed and depressed psychologically business community. This also plays very important role. I say
so
that.
You mean expectations?
Yes, also expectations. Unfortunately, business community, we don't have any position to have clear predictability process.
But this is a global
Yes,
problem.
this is global.
Yeah.
But okay, if we take, let's say, European Union, some other countries, okay, let's see, these countries, they have, I mean, European Union member countries, they have reserves, special, let's say, state reserves, and even for them it's not easy to somehow to preserve the stabilized situation, but anyway, they can somehow preserve. But what is in Georgia? Frankly speaking, we don't see some positive results, unfortunately, of this, let's say, support. And at the same time, we don't see clear vision and clear, let's say, action plan from government side.
We are talking about anti-crisis plan, now we're talking about the post-crisis plan. I agree with you, we do not know whether all these help from international experts will translate into a specific action plan. This is not clear at this point, but at least we hear some of the, how to say, contours. Yes, because government is also talking about this renewed investment plans, a lot of plans around us. So where do you see these holes that you are just
Elena, when we sent the
mentioning?
package of recommendation to government, and also we sent these recommendations to Investors Council, and which is chaired by Prime Minister of Georgia.
What is the main
and
recommendation?
You know that we are members of Investors Council.
Yes.
So when we sent, one very important point was in our recommendations that to accumulate all finances in COVID-19 fund, and also to
where
invite
businesses also.
Yes, exactly, and Elena, to invite, okay, governmental structures, they should control and they should spend the money. This is no doubt, this is definitely obligation of the government, but also to invite one or two or maybe three representatives from business community, let's say from business associations, and in cooperation with this, let's say, group of, let's say, business community, somehow to, let's say, strictly, let's say, arrange this action plan of spending money, you see.
Yeah, not to have questions like, for example, why developers, helping developers with subsidies and not helping more HoReCa sector, which got the first blow of COVID-19.
Elena,
right?
that's why I say, first of all, communication, dialogue with business. This is very important. Government should listen the voice of the business. We are
When do
ready
you
for
think
cooperation.
this action plan should be ready?
You see, if you ask me very quickly,
Yesterday?
let's say today, tomorrow, why not the day after tomorrow, maximum?
What is the role of the Investors Council that you just mentioned? Do you guys meet up? Is it like on a regular basis? Is this the platform where you have this communication? Because that's initially was set up because of the communication means as well.
So the initiative of EBRD, Elena, was very correct and in time when they initiated the Investors Council's establishment. When we started at the beginning, it was much more, let's say, effective. We sent this initiative to Prime Minister's office to establish the council, Business Development Council, where all these institutions, I mean 5 ministries plus several business associations and plus several representatives of businesses by sector.
Broader than Investors Council.
Yes, we'll discuss concrete issues, concrete, let's say, initiatives, and we'll adopt and, let's say, support concrete.
Do you have feedback on that?
No, unfortunately, no.
Not yet.
Because such kind of council definitely will give very positive and very good results.
Is it a
And we
substitute
also,
to Investors Council?
No, no, absolutely. It will be independent body. And what is important that we initiated also to, let's say, to transfer COVID-19 Foundation Fund under the patronage of this council. This will be another chance and another opportunity for government, for business community to control and to be, let's say, more actively involved in process of spending of these finances, which are, let's say, accumulated in this, let's say, foundation, COVID-19 Foundation.
Thank you for this news, very interesting news. We'll be, of course, monitoring this process, and thank you for taking our questions.
Thank you.